Based upon the one thing that I know about you, you're definitely gonna enjoy Cali. When are you going to Cali, Mena? What up, Passport Poppy? Wait, what? What are they talking about? Apparently I didn't do like enough stuff. Next week for 16 days. Nice, dude. I lived in Cali for 2 years. How did you like it, Passport Poppy? How do I pull so many Latinas? Once you learn, I salute Paul. Yo, what up, man? We now have like a crew together, which I'm pumped about. We kind of have a core group. We gotta get everyone here to join the Discord. Here, I'm gonna update the Discord link right now because apparently, for some reason, the Discord link constantly like you know constantly expires. I don't know why that happens, but I'm updating the Discord link right now. It should be good for at least another day. Everyone here who's not already on the Discord, jump in. One of the problems with Discord is that like we just like I don't know. I feel like it kind of feels like a little bit like a family that like talks a lot, but like doesn't talk every day. Like there are a couple. Sometimes we just don't talk for a little bit. But anyway, I just updated the Discord link, so that should be like good now. So if anyone wants to join, let me know. But anyway, okay, I got 10 messages. Hopefully, we got some questions. If you're going to retire in Central America, where would you be your top three places? A lot of it has to do with how much money you have. If you have like a lot of money, I think Costa Rica is a great place. Um, you know, Costa Rica is definitely probably like the best place. You probably need around like 5-6K a month, dependably. But if you can swing that, Costa Rica. Other than that, you're probably looking at somewhere like Panama or Guatemala. What's up, bro? Paulie, the man. Thanks, man. Anyway, how do I pull so many Latinas? The thing about Latinas is you have to realize there's a science to Latinas, right? There's rules to the game when it comes to Latinas, and once you learn the rules of the game, it becomes very easy to pull Latinas, right? I made a lot of videos about this, about like the rules of pulling Latinas. So, but the thing I realized, like in my mind, it's like I made a video about this, but I made a video about it like 5 months ago. So probably most people didn't see it, right? But anyway, basically, you just have to be incredibly toxic. Like that's really the gist of it on how you can pull Latinas is you need to be incredibly toxic. Even when you're like dating one, even when you're married to one, you have to do some toxicity. Like you have to do some gaslighting, you have to do all that type of stuff. And the reason is because Latinas don't argue for the same reason that men argue. And maybe not even other women, but especially not men. Latinas argue as a way to like judge your character. They're taking the measure of you, right? So once you realize once you realize your arguments are really just her, and it's not conscious, it's subconscious, right? But once you realize that like her arguing with you is not actually about the thing, it is her, you know, shoving her, puffing her chest out at you, wanting to see if you're the man that she thinks you are. Once you realize that, it becomes a lot easier to argue with Latinas and to win those types of arguments. Also, I think a really important thing with Latinas, I was actually giving this advice to my brother the other day when he came down here, is that like you have to be aggressive with them. You can't be a pushover. If you're a pushover with Latinas, they will walk all over you. They won't respect you. They won't even want to date you, right? So, for example, right, if you ask a Latina like, "Hey, do you go out often?" And she's like, "No," you want to be like, "I don't believe you. What did you do last Friday?" Oh, you exactly. Like that. You need to challenge them. You know what I mean? What if I want Latinas to walk on me? Bro, you guys like here's the thing, man. There are a lot of, there are a lot of online communities out there. right? There are a lot of them. A lot of them promote simp behavior. This is a space specifically against simp behavior. So if you want to, yeah, I did find out who he was. I thought it was, thought it was like reprehensible. But if you guys want to like promote simp behavior and be pro simpiness, like please go somewhere else, right? I want men here to be men, right? So like I know that like it was a joke, but just as a general statement, like we don't want women to walk all over us. What about Arab women? I don't really know Arab women well enough. Polish women. Polish women are not great. Um, simp behavior. Yeah, dude. We don't condone simp behavior here. And like if you want to do simp behavior, I'm not telling you you can't. It's kind of like if this was a Lord of the Rings fan club and you wanted to talk about Star Wars. It's like that's not what we're doing here. You know what I mean? Like we're not talking about Star Wars here. So anyway, let me like Arabs or Latinas competition. No. Anyway, let me look through these questions really quickly. Okay. I kind of got lost here. So here guys, here's the thing. If you guys ask the question, feel free to re-ask it. Ever had a thing for women in China? Curious question. I have a thing for like Asian women a long time ago, but like not anymore. I just aesthetically, I'm not really attracted to Asian women. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. It's just not like for me. You know what I mean? So, what about Peruvian village girls compared to girls from Lima? They're probably like here's what they have to realize, right? Here's like the important thing is that like life is a series of like trade-offs, right? So like women in Lima are much easier to get with, but because they're easier to get with, they'll also sleep around on you and stuff, right? Women in the rural villages are much harder for you to actually like, close the deal on, but once you close the deal with them, they're yours forever. So you really just have to ask yourself, like, what is the thing that you are looking for? You know what I mean? I've never seen an alpha with a nasal congestion. Dude, I'm sick, bro. I literally woke up last night shivering so violently, I had to go to the shower and just sit in the hot shower for 45 minutes. I literally ran out of hot water. So, yes, actually, you know what? Being as sick as I am with like 100, 101, 102 fever and still doing alive, that's actually an incredibly alpha move. How about that, bro? I don't believe in sickness. Colombian women and Brazilian women are top. Bro, like people got to learn how to spell Colombia correctly. What's with all those people who don't spell Colombia correctly? So what did you like about Asians before that you aren't into anymore? It's not a single thing that I liked before that I don't like now. It's literally just like I used to find them attractive and now I don't. You know what I mean? Like that's what it was. So someone keeps on asking about Cartagena. If you want to go to Cartagena and if you want to be safe in terms of pay for play, they, then go to the link in the bio, sign up for the Cartagena group trip. They don't only do arranged marriages in like Arab women don't only do arranged marriage. God forbid a human being gets sick sometimes. Yeah, dude. The funniest thing is when I call out a dude and he comes back with me with like this like really weak sauce, but um anyway, I'm sick too, dog. Yeah, dude. But we're gonna get through it. You know what I mean? We're gonna get through it together. We're gonna have a good time. One thing that I really like, advice on a okay, so this is a good question. Advice to a young brother: how do I quit being a simp? Like here's the thing. Like before I give you this advice, I want you to know that I'm not trying to be mean to you. Okay, I'm really not. Like, I just think that this is the best way to stop being a simp, right? Is to just kind of look at yourself in the mirror and say, stop being such a little bitch. You know what I mean? Like that is the difference between simps and like alphas or like whatever nomenclature you want to use. I don't even really believe in an alpha nomenclature. I think just like men have this intuitive need to be, the rock of their families. You know what I mean? And so if you're just kind of a simpy type person, I think you need to put yourself in a position where you're not a simp anymore. And I think this is a really good thing that happens when you start to travel. A lot of the reasons why guys become simps is because they just don't have a lot of options, right? So like they're like one or two girls that you meet, and like those are the girls, and like you're just like focused on them. You know what I mean? But once you start traveling, once you start clapping a lot of cheeks, you're not gonna simp anymore. You're gonna realize that like, and I'm kind of pushing the limit of like what I can say on TikTok, but like women are women. You know what I mean? And here's the kind of important thing. I've been listening to this podcast. I listened to it like 15 times. It's about Dostoevsky and Nietzsche. It's like one of the most, as somebody who kind of used to be a narcissist, maybe I still am. I think it's like really telling, but narcissists, like simps are narcissists, if that makes sense, right? Where you're in the situation where because like you need this woman that you're simping over to be the most incredible person ever in order to justify the behavior that you're exhibiting towards her, right? And what you really need to do is you need to take, as they said in the 4-year-old virgin, right? You need to take the pussy off the pedestal, right? And you need to realize that like women are just women. You know what I mean? And like I'm not even saying that's in a derogatory way. I'm saying that like once you realize that, you're gonna have a much healthier relationship with women, right? You're gonna fall in love with a woman not because oh, she's the greatest person who's ever existed. She's a goddess. No, you're gonna fall in love with her because she's just like your woman. You know what I mean? And you spend all your time with her, and you're gonna find that that's a much healthier and a much more fulfilling type of love than the type of love you felt while you were simping. So again, I didn't, I don't want to come at you, but the key to not simping anymore is to kind of give yourself a lot of tough love. I don't really know about Jewish women. You have to introspect, see if you can think in negative light all the time. Fyodor is hella fire. Scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset. Exactly. Know your girth, kings. Do you need my ATM pin now, or should I wait to be drugged first? I don't even understand what that's talking about. How can we avoid illness while traveling? Honestly, like I've got to say, by the way, Ken Kennedy, I appreciate that. Y'all got to get bros legs up. So I think that like you should get sick while traveling. It's one of my like hot takes, but I think that you should get sick while traveling. And if you're not getting sick, if you're not getting a light stomach virus or light virus if you're a digital nomad and you're not getting a light virus every 3 to 4 months, you're doing it wrong. And if you're not getting seriously ill every 6 months, you're definitely doing it wrong. Um, Anyways, let me see. Good location to travel. The boys aren't primarily pay to play. Most of the places that you're gonna go that aren't like most of the places you're gonna go on a boys trip are gonna be either primarily pay for play or they're gonna be places that are filled with Americans. You know what I mean? Like there really isn't that many places that are like you and your boys are gonna go and like hook up with like a lot of local women. I guess the best options are kind of like some of the bigger cities in South America. Don't go to Rio de Janeiro, but if you go to like Sao Paulo, Lima, those types of places. But like, anyway, with zombie dust, uh, I don't know what zombie dust is. What if exploring a new place doesn't interest me anymore? I mean, sure, but I mean, this is a travel TikTok. Like I don't know what you know what you want from this. You know what I mean? Like if you're, it's like me going on like, a Twilight TikTok and being like, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of Twilight. It's like, okay, but like it's kind of what we're discussing here, right? Okay, 8 to 10 bathroom trips a day might be a little bit, excessive, but hey, that means that you're pushing yourself, which is good. Can I get two Latina wives? Dude, one thing I say to my wife all the time, because Latinas are constantly thinking you're cheating on them. Like, I don't have the bandwidth for two Latina wives, man. I don't have the bandwidth for a side chick. When my girl is away, like she'll be like going over to like her mom's house to like gossip with her mom about shit. I literally just sit and play FIFA. Like I have no need or desire for like an extra Latina wife. And I mean, Latinas are going to exhaust you to the point that you really don't want an extra life. I don't know about Arab girls, man. Like, I'm not into Arab girls, so you guys can stop with those questions. What do I think about Eastern Europe? I don't like Eastern Europe personally. I'm Eastern European. My family's from Poland. My both of my parents were born there. I speak Polish. I spent 3 months this year in Poland. I know a lot about Eastern Europe. I'm not a big fan. The people in Eastern Europe are pretty cold. So, I like the warmth of Latin America. Best first dates to take Latinas on if you don't know the city. So that's a good question. One of the most important rules of dating a Latina abroad is never let her pick the spot. Never let her pick the spot. The reason why is because you'll have a lot of Latinas that you'll meet on apps like Tinder in places. I mean, this is more in places like Medellin or here or those sorts of places, but this exists everywhere. And they'll be like, oh, I know this restaurant. I think it's a really cool restaurant. Let's go there. And then they will rack up the bill as much as possible. And what happens is there are a lot of girls in these cities that literally their job is to take dudes to the same bar over and over again, or like take different dudes to the same bar. They're being paid by the bar, and they're basically being paid to like run up your tab as much as possible, right? So you know, be careful of that. Um. Anyway, let me see. Best relationship I had was with a Polish woman from Kutsko. Um, I went to Kutsko recently. I liked it a lot, but again, I don't like Polish women. W bandwidth, dude. I just don't have the bandwidth for multiple Latina wives. And I mean, if you do, yo, what up, bro? How's everything? Everything's great, man. Appreciate it. What place in Mexico do you recommend? I'm planning on doing like 3 months in Mexico. Ideally, ideally this year I'll do 3 months in. Well, not 3 months. We're probably only gonna do like a month or 2 months in Argentina this year, and then like a couple months in Mexico because I need to learn more about Mexico. So I don't really know. I just spent a few days in Mexico City. So Ciudad de Mexico. Um, what do you think of the Floyd situation? Okay, a lot of people asked me about that yesterday. Oh, Zamidas is scopolamine. It causes you to be semi-conscious and give information. Yeah, I that happened to me when I was in Medellin. Um, anyway, what do I think about the Floyd situation? People keep on asking me about this. I'll just answer it quickly so that if somebody else asks me this question, I can just say, watch the recording so you can see it. People a lot of times will criticize me for using the term passport bro because of people like Floyd. They'll say, you know, they'll say like, why would you associate with a guy like Floyd who calls himself a passport bro? And there are a lot of other people like him. Like a lot of passport bros are saying that like, oh, he's just an aberration. That's not true. There are a lot of guys like that, and like as a movement and as a community, we should do a better job of like, policing that and getting those people out of it. But the reason why I still call myself a passport bro, even though people like Floyd exist, is because whether or not I want to associate myself with Floyd, and I promise you I do not, everybody else is going to associate you with Floyd. So if you spend your time explaining that, oh, I'm not actually a passport bro, I'm a geomaxer, and it's two different things, you just seem you just seem weak. You're on your heels. You know what I mean? So what are my thoughts about Floyd? I think he's a piece of shit, and I think he should go to prison. That's really my thought. I think people like him should go to prison, and I'd be very happy snitching on passport bros who do that to the authorities. If any like Brazilian or Colombian or American authorities watching this and wants my help in finding these people, I'm more than happy to do that because I think these people are terrible. And I think they deserve to rot in prison. That being said, like what else besides that can I really do? You know what I mean? Like Eastern Europeans are more laid back. Like this is the weird thing about being a Polish person is people keep on telling me these characteristics of Polish people, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm Polish. That's not true. Polish people are some of the least laid back people on planet Earth. Polish people are some of the most neurotic people on planet Earth. What are you talking about? They're laid back. Um, anyway. There are criminals in America as we should stop saying you're American. Of course not. 100%. My dad's from Varsavia, which is Warsaw. My mom is from Wrocław. Is Sao Paulo really that dangerous? I got robbed in Sao Paulo, but it's not really that dangerous. What do you think about the typical um yeah, dude, 100% Big Mo. By the way, Big Mo, if you know, so one thing I'm doing is I'm doing interviews with people who are like experts of like specific countries. If you are an expert of a specific country and you want to like do a video together, I'll be more than happy to do a video together on my YouTube. Just let me know. I'm not sure how many followers you have, but I'm guessing, I don't know, Big Mo, if you're like trying to become like an influencer or something, but if you are, I'll be happy to like put you on. Sorry, I don't really know a lot of people on TikTok. How do you ensure safety in some places of SA where you are targeted? Um, it's difficult to be honest. I don't really have an answer. The answer is to just like take regular precautions. You know what I mean? Um, take regular precautions, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Anyway, suppose you have $100 billion. Can you manage 72 Latino wives? I mean, it's really just about like the time that they're demanding from you. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like the money that you have. It's like if you have more money and have more free time, they'll want to spend more free time with you. And plus, like, here's the thing, man. Like, honestly, I'm I'm a Catholic. I'm not a Muslim. I believe that God created man and woman to be together. The idea of having more than one wife is pretty offensive to me. I'll be completely honest. Um, so you can have your wives, but just want you to know that like a good Latina is not gonna put up with that. Would you just not recommend traveling to Eastern Europe? I was planning a trip in a few months. There are a couple places I would recommend, going to Eastern Europe, but like not Poland. Poland's getting more expensive. For me, like I think Albania and Montenegro are really great places, but that's more of like Balkans. Um, yeah, dude, let's link up. Thoughts on Hungary? I don't really have that many thoughts about Hungary. I spent like a couple days there. I haven't really done done too much. w- You know, um, I've had a few sweethearts from a few cultures, but I made mistakes like everyone else. Yeah, and everybody makes mistakes, man. That's the thing, right? Like you have to realize that like all of the mistakes you make are just good stories. In Albania, you can live there visa free for up to a year, 100%. Beautiful scenery, gorgeous women, and it's incredibly cheap too. What ethnicity of Latinas do you like? Thoughts on more indigenous Latinas? So my girl is like half Spanish, half Italian Latina. So she's basically like European Latina, but she does have that like olive skin though. What are other cities worth visiting in Argentina except for Buenos Aires? Cordoba, Mendoza, El Calatafe, Bariloche, Ushuaia. However we say that, I don't know. What are girls in Lippis Mons like? I've never been there. Um, Random question. Do I need to print out my e-visa for Vietnam? No, that's a great question to ask. Um, Patagonia. So there's no city in Argentina called Patagonia. Patagonia is like a region. You know what I mean? It's like referring to like the American South. You know what I mean? It's like you still have to go to a specific city. So Bariloche is kind of like at the north part of Patagonia, and El Calatafe is kind of like at the south end of Patagonia. By the way, one thing I'm going to start doing soon, I'm going to start experimenting with this. Is I just was able to like download TikTok Studio. Thanks for the fan club. And so what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start doing these lives with like a screen share, so you guys can so we can actually like show some things instead of what I mean, just me talking about stuff. But anyway, um, do you need to print out your e visa? No, you can just show it from your phone. Do Latinos restore your faith on love growing up in Western countries? Yeah, 100%. That's like a really profound question, to be honest. Yeah, me and my wife have an absolutely amazing marriage. I love her so much. Um, when do you plan to come to YouTube live? Once a week, weekdays. I'm gonna be. So here's the thing. So at the minimum, I'm gonna be live every day from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. But starting next week, because I just quit my job, I'm gonna be coming on YouTube and TikTok live like all the time. So, you know, but if you are the type of person who like likes a schedule, likes a set time, it's 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. Anyway, yeah, 100% restore my faith and love. My wife is absolutely phenomenal. One thing I tell her, and this is 100% true, is that before I met her, if I had, like, if God had come down from heaven and told me to create my perfect woman, right? And he would like make her for me and I could like marry her, that woman would only be like half as good as my wife. Like she's not just my dream girl, she's even better than what I thought a dream girl could possibly be. So, you know, dating in the West is tough. It's a tough world out there, and I think it was done purposefully, but that's a whole other conversation. But when you meet a Latina and like a good Latina, it will completely transform your faith and love. Just a quick story. Literally this time last year, there's a lot of backstory to it, but basically I got shit canned by my job. They refused to pay me, and I was just like dead broke. And it was December 1st. If you know anything, it's impossible to get a job December 1st. And like literally just like the most back against my wall type of situation my entire life. And my wife was just like, yeah, we're a team. We're gonna figure this out together. And so, yeah, my the story is much longer than that. I actually have the whole story in my book, but I just wanted to give that. How do you get mail as digital nomad? I'm trying to find solutions myself. Um, so I do you have a remote job? I just said I quit my job. I had one, but I just quit it. But anyway, the mail gets sent to my aunt's house. But to be honest, like I just don't respond to a lot of mail. How'd you meet your wife? I actually met her on Tinder. I've been in Bogota for a couple of months. Am I ready for harder cities? That video really popped off. People have a lot of thoughts about it. Um, yeah, dude. I mean, I yeah, you should be fine, man. So I had a meeting with somebody. Somebody paid for like a consultation with me. And if you but by the way, if anyone ever wants to pay for a consultation with me, there's a link in my bio. If you want like have an hour long one-on-one with me where I answer all your questions, help you plan a trip, you can do that. But I was having a consultation with this guy, and he was like, and I said something, he was like, but in this video 3 months ago, you said this. Like, how do you square those circles? And I'm like, a lot of my videos are just me kind of talking shit. And it's like 85 to 90% true. You know what I mean? But like a lot of a lot of the stuff I say has some nuance to it. And like I've actually made another Baya video about this, like the coincidentally had to do with Baya. Like a lot of the stuff I say has a lot of nuance attached to it that outside of that specific context can be difficult to understand. All that being said, if you're in Bogota for a couple months and you feel fine, you should be fine in Bahia. I was more talking about people who like have never been to South America and are like, "Yo, I'm gonna go to Bahia." It's just like, bro, you should just go to Bogota first, and you can learn stuff as you go. Your videos can be changed or nuanced, 100%. Um, Why can't I see the links? So you go to my bio, the link is in there. It's a link tree link, and there's a whole bunch of links in there. Um, so no Amazon package ever. I actually think that that's an interesting question that you're asking about not getting Amazon packages. It's that like you realize in Latin America how much Amazon has kind of made your life worse, and how like a lot of stuff that's been pitched to us as things that are meant to like make our life easier has actually like made us a lot more atomatized and like unhappy. You know what I mean? Like when me and my wife want to buy stuff, we go to the mall, we have a day together where we're going to the mall, we get dinner, we have a whole experience, a whole fun experience. And like I'd honestly much rather have that than getting stuff on Amazon. You know what I mean? Like I think that one of the problems, and this is one thing that you really realize when you travel in Latin America, is that American society is so over optimized to the point where it's just like, what's the point of all of this? You know what I mean? And it seems like the point of life in America is to sit in your cube at work, go home to your cube at home, eat a microwave dinner, if you're a base Chad, go hook up with a girl, come back to your house in like half an hour, but like don't actually share any sort of like meaningful emotional connection with them. And it's just really adamatized and lonely and unfulfilling in some very, you know, very meaningful ways. And I think that goes from the small things to the big things. So I think that, you know, not having Amazon makes your life so much better. It really does. Like you go to the malls in South America. I put this on my story a bunch of times. I've never made a video about this. You go to the malls in South America and you compare them to the malls in America, and it is day and night. And anyone who's been to a mall in South America can attest to this. Throw some roses in the chat. Like like malls in South America are genuinely fun places to be. They're just filled with people who are experiencing life together. You know what I mean? Malls in America are like, oh, I'm gonna run here, get this, and get out. It's just not. Anyway, so you still pull chicks while married? No, dude. Me and my wife are married. I don't cheat on her. Um, Yo, thanks for the roses, guys. A Western woman would have left at the drop of a hat. 100%, dude. My wife, you know, never leaving. Um, the malls have proper nice restaurants, not just fast food. 100%. Texas has good ones, but the malls in Mexico are better than California and Ohio. Yeah, I'm kind of talking about the places that I've been. I haven't really, been everywhere, so I don't really know. Is this a one-time thing? No, I'm actually going to be doing these lives every day. So I said this before. I apologize, people who I repeat stuff to, but like these lives are going to be every day from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern time, and then I'm also going to be doing other lives during the day. Um, is Bali good or overrated? I actually think that Bali is weirdly enough underrated. I would go out and say that Bali is underrated. And here's why. Bali has a certain stereotype to it. And the stereotype of Bali was 100% completely deserved. Bali is a place for crypto scammers, coaches, and white women looking to either rave or have like a spiritual experience. Which, by the way, yoga actually isn't native to Bali, so the whole spiritual experience is complete BS anyway. That's that is fair and that is true of a lot of Bali. You go to some places in Ubud or even some places in Uluwatu, and like there are more white people per capita than there are in like Colorado. Right? That's just a fact. That being said, Bali is also incredibly cheap and has incredibly high quality of everything. So because of this stigma that it has, a lot of people don't want to go to Bali because Bali kind of has this like poser type thing to it. It's like, oh, you went to Bali? Oh, come on. You know what I mean? But because of that, it's so cheap and it's also one of the most beautiful places on planet Earth. So I think Bali's underrated. How's Spain for vacation? Spain is okay. I mean, I spent a month in Madrid. I didn't really like it though. I love this guy. Thanks, man. Um, I'm trying to catch up to the questions. Kind of like Amazon made us forget the beauty of simple things. 100%. It 100% did that. That's cool, man. I was just trying to order a computer. Yeah, so like those types of things are hard to do in Latin America, and like abroad. Like me and my wife, we went to like a store in Poland to buy my new computer, and like you know, it's not an ideal experience. Let's just say that. But like you also start to realize like how stupid all these things kind of are. In the UK, it's Amazon all the time, but since moving out to Latin America, I've not missed it. It's such a funny thing. I think that there's so many things in this world that you are sure you're gonna miss and be upset about not having, and then once you don't have it anymore, you're like, I don't care. And I think Amazon. I guess this is just like a anti Amazon live, but I'm happy to that. Um, anyway, let me see. I think I've caught up with all the questions. Bogota Bogota was my first city in South America, and I went 10 years ago. There are 3 lives of you going on now in different channels. I mean, there should only be 2. There's the one on TikTok, and then there's the one on YouTube. What's the third one? So he's a retired bro. Yeah, basically. Basically, I'm a retired pastor, bro. No worries. Here, let me see. Um, Best country for swiggers. Like, are you trying to like trade like by swiggers? Do you just mean you're trying to like clap a lot of cheeks, or do you mean like literally like you and your wife want to like pair up with other couples. Um, Yo, thanks, Ben. Go to Medellin for the second time in 3 years. Has anything changed? Basically, everything has changed in Medellin in the last 3 years. Medellin has just become oversaturated with gringos, and it's gotten to the point now where the locals in Medellin, are really upset about Americans. And I would say to the point where like you shouldn't go to Medellin, really. You should, go somewhere else. What do you recommend for a place to chill and save money for a little? So if you are geographically agnostic or you don't mind the hours, I would say Vietnam is probably your number one place. Me and my wife, when we were in Vietnam, we literally spent $4 per meal. And I'm not even talking, it wasn't like a cheat, it wasn't like we were searching out cheap meals. We just went to little local spots and the price was $4. And I'm talking about two soups, an appetizer, and two drinks was $4 when I was in Vietnam. So I think that that's kind of the best place if you're stuck in the Western Hemisphere, um, we're actually going to Bolivia on Saturday. I think Bolivia is going to be one of the best cities to go to. I really believe in Bolivia. I haven't been there though, so I can't recommend it. But all of Latin America is actually getting like a lot more expensive. Bali has great cost of living. Just subscribe to the official channel. Thanks, man. I'm trying to get like monetized on YouTube. So people don't mind after like when you jump off, if you can just click the link in the bio and go to my YouTube page and subscribe. And the people who are on my YouTube live, if you could subscribe as well. It's funny, I'm at 50,000 followers on TikTok and you know, I'm at 300 on YouTube, which shows how I was like, focusing on one and not on the other. Is Bali Belly real? I actually got Bali Belly, so yeah, it's definitely real. When was the last time I was in Brazil? Um, March. March was the last time I was in Brazil. Are there many traditional Protestants in Brazil? Yes. There are all different types of churches in Brazil. I'm a Catholic, so we went to the Catholic church, but there were like every time I go to a new city, I'm always like Googling where the nearest Catholic church is. So I obviously like see the breakdown of churches, and like they have a lot of evangelical churches in Brazil. Anyway. Okay, so boom, my girlfriend's birthday is coming up. She wants to experiment with girls. Where to? I would say Thailand, to be honest. Thailand or Bali. Thailand or Bali is where you find all the freaky white girls in Southeast Asia, to be honest. A lot of girls don't really go to Latin America that much. Um okay, I don't understand the context of that one. Do you think the game has changed since your retirement? I mean, not really. Like dating Latinas is the same. It's the same principles. Like the specifics might be different, right? Where it's like, maybe you don't go to Asuncion anymore. Maybe you go to Santa Cruz, or maybe you go to some other city, right? But like the general principles of going to a tier two city and the way that you deal with Latinas is all the same. Sub, my boy. Thanks, dude. I became Passport Bro at 18 and was shamed by losers, so I don't tell anyone. Now I'm proud to say because Passport Bros have more money. Oh, okay, now I understand. Okay, so yeah, so if you're Latino, worst place would be best for flirting in Eastern Europe. Probably Poland. You're the coolest person I've ever seen on the internet. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Okay, so I'm like gonna answer this question. I just want to make sure that that like I got like a lot of like the quick questions out of the way. But yeah, so here's the thing. Um, there is a huge stigma in the United States against passport bros. I'm not gonna pretend that there isn't. And anybody who pretends that there isn't is lying to you, obviously, right? But you have to understand why. Here, I'm going to plug this in first. But you have to understand why the stigma exists. The stigma against passport bros exists because of women. Because the reason why women have been able to get away with what they've been able to get away with, in terms of feminism, but also in terms of the United States today, is because of is because of the fact that men are stranded. Oh, um, here I'm gonna. So I want to make sure. All right, what? Why don't I start over? Sorry. So anyway, there's a huge stigma against passport bros in America. I'm not going to say that there isn't, right? Anyone who says there isn't is lying to you. But you have to realize why that stigma exists. The reason for the stigma is because women don't want guys to become passport bros, right? Because once guys start becoming passport bros, guys will stop putting up with their BS. Women in America get away with all the stuff that they get away with because American men just don't realize that there are better options out there, right? It's basically a monopoly, or it's basically like a cartel where all the women have gotten together and said, hey, if we all just act horrible, guys aren't going to have any other options. So we're going to be able to get away with whatever we want to get away with. It's kind of like a union, right? And you need to do the same thing that the corporations did to bust up the unions, which is go overseas or bring in H-1Bs, right? And like not getting to the specifics of whether that was a good thing or a bad thing. The thing is that was an effective way to destroy labor in the United States, right? And it's the same thing with feminists, right? You're not going to defeat feminism in the United States by spending your time arguing with feminists. You're not going to defeat feminism in the United States by yelling at OnlyFans models. You're going to defeat feminism in the United States by guys in the United States saying, yo, I'm not going to put up with this stuff anymore. I'm going abroad where other women are going to treat me better. And that's going to start putting pressure on American women to act better. Now, are women going to act better because I go abroad? I'm not saying that they are. I'm not saying that there's a single American woman who's like, oh my God, I'm so upset that Paul is no longer in the dating pool. I'm not going to flatter myself like that. But do you know what is happening? There are a lot of guys on this live, and there are a lot of guys watching my videos who hear me talking about my wife, hear me talking about the types of girls that I pull, and hear me talking about the relationships that I'm in. And these guys, and I know a lot of these guys who are like 6'2", have a six-pack, and are making like $500,000 a year. And they're like, wait a second, Paul looks like that. He's not making that much money, and his girl is cooking for him, cleaning for him, is always by his side no matter what, is constantly supporting him, while my girl is treating me like a commodity, right? And so what you're going to start to happen once enough guys start going abroad is the hotter guys are going to start going abroad too, because they're going to be like, wait, if Paul is able to pull this, what am I going to be able to pull? And that is what's going to really threaten the women, right? And the thing is, you have to realize how women control other women. Women don't control other women through rational arguments. That's not how they do it, right? If you look at girls in like high school and that type of stuff, they don't have debates with each other about stuff. What they do is they do bullying and they do character assassination. And that is what the anti-passport bro movement in the United States by women is all about, right? They know that the guys who have already left, obviously we're not coming back, right? But they know that if they tell the guys who are here, if you leave, you're a loser, then there are a lot of guys who won't want to leave. And here's the solution to that. The solution to that is not give a crap about it. It's not care what these women think about you. Because the truth is, you only care about what these women think about you because you're living in the United States and you're surrounded by them. That's the only reason why you care. Once you leave the United States, once you're surrounded by other passport bros, once your social circle is other guys who left for the same reason, and once you're dating a Latina who treats you the right way, you're not going to care what people in America think about you. And I can tell you this from firsthand experience, right? When I first left the United States, I was like, yo, I'm gonna come back to the United States, yada yada yada. And then eventually I was just like, yo, I don't want to come back. I have such a happier life outside of the United States than I ever did in the United States, right? So you just have to give yourself 3 to 6 months. In 3 to 6 months, it starts to kick in and you really start to realize it. But the point of all this is that Silver Surfer is 100% right. There's a campaign of intimidation against men who are trying to leave America because of the horrible way that women have absolutely destroyed. And yes, I'm saying it's women who have absolutely destroyed the dating market in the United States. You have no obligation to live in the scorched earth that they have created. You can go and leave and you can find a better woman somewhere else. Roses in the chat if you agree. Yeah, I've started just because I'm kind of lazy. I've started to take like my best rants and like post them. I think you guys have seen them, like the bio one. It's just an easier way of making content. And so I'm definitely clipping that and posting that. That's gonna be like a 5 minute rant, but we're posting that. Yo, thanks for the roses, man. You can't make this shit up. My cousin literally modeled for Calvin Klein, his upper class income chiseled, and he can't get a girlfriend. 100%. Yo, so the fake tradcon movement, um, the fake tradcon movement is the funniest thing in the world. Like I was watching. So there's this dude. I got banned before for mentioning influencers' names that are like persona non grata, but like it's the Henry McDougal guy, and he made a video with this like tradcon feminist influencer, and they were talking about like how passport bros are like evil and terrible, and he was just like, you gotta stay in America and wife up the hose, and I'm like, dude, you got completely psyoped by these fake feminist tradcons. What are you talking about? Especially because he doesn't want to wife up the hose. All of the guys who tell you to wife up the hose, none of them want to wife up the hose themselves. They're just telling you that because a lot of them, to be honest with you, like are kind of like virgins, and so like a hot conservative influencer talks to them, and they simp over them the same way that like loser dudes do, right? But yeah, 100%. They're not conservatives. Anyway, I honestly feel passport bros are not built for American liberal women. That's okay. 100%. I said I've never been to Africa. I've been to Egypt and Morocco, but that's not really Africa. Amen. I agree. In order to destroy feminism, we need to create leverage in the dating market, combined with men not approaching the tides will eventually turn. 100%. But also, I think that as a guy, you just have to realize that you don't care. Like at this point, like I kind of care that you know, like because I'm like an online influencer, like yeah, I'm trying to destroy feminism, but like in all honesty, it doesn't really affect my day-to-day life. You guys need to get to a point where like whether feminism exists or not, it has no real material impact on your life. And you're like, okay, you just do that ridiculous stuff that you're doing. And I'm gonna go live my good life in Argentina. 304 Union. All right. Is dating abroad as a bigger guy tough too? I mean, I'm a bigger guy, bro, and I found a wife. What you're saying is village maxing works 100%. You need to go to the villages. You need to go to the smaller towns. Many Latinos lie and say they're Catholic. I actually would push back on that. I won't say that they lie. I would say that like they identify as Catholic, but they don't actually like believe it strongly. But you also have to realize that part of your responsibility as the man of the house is to instill the values in your house, at least in a traditional relationship, right? So she might not really believe it, and that's fine. You need to realize that part of your job is to like enforce that. And at least the nominal belief that she says that she has is going to give you enough license to do that. I'm a Kenya truther. It should be a top destination. Yeah, I gave I posted a video today about why I don't really go to Kenya. Sent to Swan. Thanks, dude. I'm ripped 6'1". I spent so much money dating SMH, bro. Like that's the crazy thing, bro. Is like I'm fat as hell. I'm 5'10". And even when I was dating my wife, all she really wanted to do was like go to like McDonald's. You know what I mean? Like, why is it harder for you to date than me? I'm 6'5", 240, 7% body fat. I make seven figures. Where should I go? Yo, so what Austin's referring to is there was a dude in my morning live who was like, "Yeah, man, like where are they into tall guys? I have this problem. I'm a tall guy, and I don't know where to find chicks." And it's like, bro, like, come on, bro. Um, okay. I met a hot Brazilian girl who recently moved to the States. Should I worry about her being westernized? 100%. Do not date women that move to the United States. Do not date Latinas who have moved to the United States. That is the absolute worst of all the worlds. That is the worst option. There is not a worse option than that. And the reason is very simple. It's like, why did she move to the United States? Right? She moved to the United States because she doesn't have those traditional values. Because for her, making money in the United States is more important. The material wealth in the United States is more important than her family. That's like the opposite of the Latinas that you're looking for. You're a fridge, of course you get no huzz. Bro, I'm married though. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway. What's in the Cartagena package? Okay, I'm gonna do a quick Cartagena package promo. We're gonna clock this at like a minute or two. So if you guys need to go to the bathroom, feel free to go there if you're not interested. But yeah, the Cartagena package is 6 days in Cartagena. Um, Private boat. You can be on this catamaran, which is the guy who's going to be like shepherding you around owns this boat. You can be staying in a mansion. You can be doing an ATV trip, and most importantly, we're just going to like plan out your itinerary for a week, and we're gonna basically give you all the best stuff. You know what I mean? Um, where should I go in Brazil? If you're asking that question, you need to go to Rio de Janeiro. If you're asking the question, where should I go in Brazil? The answer is Rio de Janeiro. Because I'm guessing, why does the live keep freezing? Fuck. Okay. Is the live okay now? Is it freezing now? Can someone let me know? It's really bad. Um, really bad, bro. Damn it. It was getting a bit choppy. Okay. Um, this Airbnb has horrible internet, but good now. Awesome. Bro, why are you like pushing Kenya so hard? Anyway, the dates of Cartagena are March 16th to the 22nd, but we're gonna start having two trips a month starting in like May. But if you're interested at all in the concept, so I'm sick right now, and I honestly don't have the strength right now to do my full Cartagena group package pitch. So if you're interested, just fill out the form, the link in the bio, and like we'll set up a time when I'm feeling healthier, and I'm gonna go and like tell you everything about it. Awesome. Anyway, sorry, I'm trying to find. Bro, you should focus on YouTube more. Just watch your Bali video. Thanks, man. So, this is a little bit of a programming note, I guess, but like, so, basically, the reason why I've been focusing so much on TikTok is because it's the easiest channel to grow on. But there are a couple of problems with it, and like, I really don't like TikTok as like a long term, as a long term content, thing. So what I'm planning on doing is basically doing different types of content on all the different types of channels. So my TikTok content is gonna be a lot of the same types of like engagement baiting type of content to get like a million views because that's literally what TikTok is for. Again, I don't really like doing that type of stuff. The YouTube is gonna be a lot more of like in depth 25-minute videos about specific places. And I think that that's going to be a lot more interesting and a lot, more useful as well. So if you guys are interested in that type of stuff, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Once I'm able to start monetizing it, I'll be able to put a lot more effort into it. Uh, anyway, let's see. Um, Colombia, no you, 100%. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Where's the best area in Rio de Janeiro to stay? This is a controversial opinion I have, I guess, but I don't think Copacabana, Ipanema, and Leblon are good areas to stay. And the reason is because they're just filled with tourists. So they're really bougie. They're filled with tourists, or kind of like a lot of other bougie touristy areas that you see in other countries. You get much less of like a real Brazilian experience in those areas, I think. I think the best area to stay in is Flamingo. It's a lot more local. And one of the problems with living in a touristy place is that tourists attract scammers, they attract thieves, they attract hawkers, they attract all this negativity, and that definitely exists in those three areas: Copacabana, Leblon, and Ipanema. Flamingo is like a local neighborhood in Rio de Janeiro, and it doesn't have any of that type of stuff. It's literally just all locals. I didn't see a single scammer, hawker, or anything in my entire time in Flamingo. So I that's where I would recommend you go in Rio de Janeiro. Now, should you go to Flamingo Beach? 100%. You should go to Flamingo Beach. I mean, to Copacabana Beach. Should you go to Copacabana Beach? 100%. But you can like once you go there for like a day, like a day trip, you'll be like, I don't feel like coming back here. It's you go there for the photo. Can you expand more on American trad cons and the constant dating American conservative women? Yeah, man. I mean, for the first of all, like a lot of the big issue with dating American conservative women is that it's not just about where they are now, it's where they're going to be in 5, 10 years, right? And the big problem with American conservative women is they still live in the overall American culture. And the American culture is so specifically designed to break up relationships, break up marriages, undermine male authority in the family that even if she's conservative now, she has all of this stuff constantly being fed to her. So here are a couple of examples, right? First of all the music is about sleeping around, having, is about promiscuity. Even country music is about all those types of things, right? You have oh, it's heating up. All the dating podcasts that women listen to in the United States is all about like cheating on men, doing all this other type of stuff. You know what I mean? And like you're literally just, you're dipping your relationship in basically acid every single day and hoping it doesn't break. And it might not break for a long time, but eventually the numbers say it will break, right? So that's kind of the problem with American conservative women versus an environment like Latin America, where even though they will have certain aspects of the negative American culture, because they're in an overall more positive, cultural environment, it's not going to affect them as much, right? So, for example, like one big example that people have been pointing to a lot recently are sitcom dads, right? How you have Homer Simpson and like basically every sitcom dad is like a stupid, fat, incompetent person, right? And that has an effect on the way that women perceive their husbands, the way that daughters perceive their fathers, and the respect that they show you in the family, right? Now, if that was it, it wouldn't be an issue. because they still know that they need to respect you, right? It's just a break. But you know, if they listen to that and they listen to the Call Her Daddy podcast afterwards, and they listen to another cancerous podcast afterwards, and then they're talking to her friend who just got divorced, and then she's talking to her boss the next morning, who's a type A female career woman who's trying to destroy other women's relationships because she's upset that she doesn't have a family. That starts compounding in a really negative way. What Latin American countries are the worst for STDs? Probably Brazil. Latina music's all about that too, no? That's the funny thing is that like people think that Latin American music is very promiscuous. It's actually not. Like I have played a lot of very tame rap songs for my wife, and all she does is listen to the most ratchet Latina music. And she's just like, what the hell is this? Right? And you actually like listen to a lot of the Latin love songs. It's not about sleeping with 50 women and like popping pussy and that type of stuff. It's like actual, most of it's actual like love songs. You know what I mean? I would recommend Ipanema and Leblon. Yeah, you should go to Ipanema and Leblon once. You shouldn't like post up there. I'll be in Rio in February. I booked my stay in Botafogo. Botafogo is another good option. I view Botafogo and Flamingo as kind of the same neighborhood, kind of because Botafogo is so small, and you literally just like walk around. Like if you go to if you're in Flamingo and you walk like if you're in Flamingo facing the ocean and then you make a right and you just keep on walking, it's gonna take you around a bend, which is like there's like a restaurant there, and then you're at Botafogo. So they're very close to each other. And like if you're in Flamingo proper, like if you're in the actual like city part, it's really hard to tell where Flamingo ends and Botafogo begins. So personally, I view them as kind of the same area. But the point is, you're right. Previous job I quit, I was a salesperson. Um, yeah, Latin American music is very promiscuous. It's not as promiscuous as American music. That's the point that I'm making. Aside from Rio, what are the safest, best cities to travel to in Brazil, or only Rio is worthwhile? So the reason why I bang this Rio drum is because if you've never been to Brazil, you should just go to Rio. It's like if you've never been to France, you should just go to Paris. You know what I mean? Like if you went to France and went to like Toulon or Marseille, sure, I'm sure you have a great experience, but like why aren't you like at least stopping in Paris? And that's kind of my feeling about Rio and Brazil, right? So I think you need to see Rio, but besides that, there are a whole bunch of different cities that are enjoyable in Brazil that you can go to. Um, my favorite is a city called Vila Velha. It's like a 45-minute plane ride north of Rio de Janeiro. But you can also go to, as we talked about, Salvador. You go to Fortaleza. You can go to São Luís. You can go to Porto Alegre. You can go to Florianopolis. Florianopolis is kind of the safest, but it's also like the priciest. It's just filled with Americans. You ever thought about Europe? Yeah, dude, I've been to Europe. Spent most of my time as a child. I spent most of my traveling up until age 26 was in Europe. Um, where in South America is weed friendly? I don't know, man. You can just Google that, man. I don't know. I don't smoke weed anymore, and I think that generally speaking, people shouldn't smoke weed. But I don't really feel like dying on that hill today, so I'll back off. Good place to meet Russians in Brazil. The state of Parana in Brazil. I don't know if Mateo Horvatinek is still here. I apologize for taking so long to get to your question. But if you're trying to get like Eastern European girls in Brazil, you want to go to the state of Parana, which is just south of Sao Paulo. I met a Mexican chef the other day. She was thick and lovely. Nice. How long do you stay in South America throughout the year? Um, I'm a digital nomad. I bounce around, man. Me and my wife are planning on settling down, like living here long term. So probably going to be like living here long term. But overall, I think I spent like 2 years in South America. Rio sounds fun. It is. So this guy says that I'm disgusting. He says, in all due respect, I think you're disgusting. You should try Ozempic. If you keep on posting that, dude, I'm going to block you. So Iguazu. So Iguazu spelled that way is actually in Argentina. Iguazu in Brazil spelled with a C. I spent a month and a half in Iguazu, which is way too much time to spend in Iguazu. So, you know, American conservative women, trans women are like color daddy type A. Why not date them? I'm not saying they are. I'm saying that they're surrounded by women who listen to those things as part of the overall cultural infrastructure. Like if you're dating an Amish girl, sure, but most girls you're gonna date like no other women who listen to that stuff, and then they'll say stuff like, "Oh, I don't really like it, but I just find it funny. I like laughing at them." You know what I mean? Which is just a female cop out. Okay. Mr. Big Bollocks. Sorry, man. I'm gonna have to block you. This guy's just spamming me. This guy's just I think concern trolling is like the most it's the most pathetic type of trolling. To be honest with you, it's like if you're going to insult me, you know, at least at least stand on business. You know what I mean? Don't block him anyway. 100%. Like why it's such a pathetic way to spam somebody. You should at least just like come and like insult me. Anyway, what's the best play for pay to play in Latam? Um, so I mean this would be a little bit of a plug, but I actually think the best place for pay to play in Latam is Cartagena, which you know, funnily enough, we actually have a group trip planned to Cartagena with a group trip package that you can sign up for. So you all should do that. Sign up for the group trip package to Cartagena. Um, I mean, like I'm not just saying that because we have the group trip package. I actually legitimately believe that. A lot of people think that like I'm pushing Cartagena because we have a group trip package there, but it's actually the other way around. Like I'm pushing I have a group trip package because I believe in the place. I know people all over the world. I can have group trip packages to other places. Best place for pay to play in Rio. What you want to do in Rio, you want to go to a place called a Terma. There's a place called Terma's 502 or Terma's 205 or something like that. And you want to go to one of those. It's basically a brothel. Um, the guy was an Indian travel agent. The idea with coming up with videos from long lives is good. Yeah, to be honest, like I I hope that like my fan like the actual like fans aren't upset by it of me just repurposing live stuff. But I actually think it's much better content because literally like I just wait like before I would just like wake up and just be like trying to figure out what like good content could be. And now I'm like, I'm rewatching my live with my morning coffee and like picking out the best bits and posting that on my TikTok. So I'm gonna start doing more like original content again, but I think that this is much better. Hope people don't mind that I do that. I thought you went to South America when you didn't want to settle. What makes you want to go to South America if you're already married? Well, my wife is South American. Her family lives in South America. I also just love South America. This is this is actually the thing that is really interesting and like part of my like if I were to say like I have an overall project, it would be this is that a lot of people go to South America just for the women and for the partying and for the substances. But then when you're here, you fall in love with the place and you realize that you never want to leave. And really, what I'm trying to do in my videos where I talk about the women, the partying, the substances, is to get people to come here and then you're going to fall in love with South America and you're never going to want to leave. Roses in the chat if you agree with that. One on the Brazil side, that's enough. Yeah, 100%. We spent a month. That was way too much. Okay. Thoughts on Guayaquil? I really want to go. It's like it comes naturally during the live and makes it good short content. 100%. That's kind of why I'm thinking about doing it. It also pushes more people to the live, so that we can have like more interesting and engaging conversations as well. I think it's kind of like the best of all worlds. Thoughts on Guayaquil? I'm hoping to go to Guayaquil in a month, so I'll let you know. I really want to try it out. Ever had a thing for girls from India? Actually, like, funnily enough, I did. I did for a while, and then I lost that thing. Jason says, "Yeah, we don't mind." Jason, I don't know how to say this without sounding bitchy, but Jason is one of my favorite followers. Jason, I have a lot of people messaging me who are like, "Man, I've been following you since like, you had 500 followers." Most of that's BS because I never actually really had 500 followers. I went from 0 to 1,000 in like 5 days, so that's BS. But anyway, Jason was here back in like June and back in July. So if Jason doesn't mind, I'm happy to do it. Aw. I feel like the Brazil thoughts are coming from some South American beef between countries. No, not really. I like here's the funniest thing about my Brazil takes, and this happens with all of my Brazil takes, is that like I'll talk some shit about Brazil, right? And I'm just talking shit, you know what I mean? And I'll have all of these white women in my comments upset at me, you know what I mean? And then all of the Brazilians in my comments are like laughing and finding it hilarious. You know what I mean? Like all the actual Brazilians find all of my takes hilarious. And I had a lot of Brazilian people in the comments about the Bahia thing who are just like, yeah, man, 100% true. And then like all of do you like international girls living in the US? I'm not gonna like fully answer this because I answered a little bit earlier, but no, I think international girls living in the US are kind of the worst of all worlds. Colombian Odyssey, yo, how's it going, bro? I need a Latina. At least I can say I was here at 300 something on YouTube on December 30th. Yeah, man. I mean, like, look, I'm not the type of person who's like, if you were here when I had 1,000 followers, I don't care about you. Like, I have a lot of good followers and good friends that I made here after I got to 10,000, after I got to 20,000. But Jason's been here for a long time, which I just want to give him a shout out for that. Um, but yeah, Big Mo, I feel like you and I are gonna become friends. Pablo Jr. Yo, speaking of people who've been following me recently, I think you started following me like a month or two ago, and Pablo Jr. is one of my favorite followers. Paulie, might book a long weekend in Morocco in March. Expecting good things, bro. You're gonna have a time. You're gonna have a great time in Morocco. Pablo Jr. Pablo Jr. is about to go to Morocco and then never come back. I was your first follower. I don't think that's true. You speak the truth. Thanks, man. Do you think Argentina women are good to marry? It depends on where from. Um, Buenos Aires, no. If you're going to like Mendoza or Cordoba, yes. I'm traveling a lot. Think of doing YouTube. Realistic, is it possible to make decent money on YouTube nowadays? It's possible to make decent money, man, but like it's a slog. It's a slog. Like I've been doing this for 6 months. I have 50,000 followers. I'm not really making a lot of money for this. Why are they worse? They rich families. Honestly, like when I said that, I wasn't even considering the rich family part, but that's also part of it, right? Most of these girls have rich families, which means they're bougie as hell. But yeah, I mean, you also have to consider like there's a reason why they're going to the US. Like if you're dating a girl from Latin America, right? The big thing you like about her is the traditional values, the family values, right? If she's leaving her family behind to go to the United States in order to chase better material conditions, then that means that she's probably doesn't have those values that close to her heart, right? Now, if she's going with her family, it's a different story, but you know what I mean? Like, would spending a few weeks in a mountain town in Germany be a good way to find a wife? No, but that's because I would never want to marry a German woman. That just sounds horrible. Whew. Yeah, dude. I built out like a content calendar, and I'm hoping to do Doha like in the second half of January if that works for you, bro. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to talk about Doha with Pablo Jr. I just like showing love to this kinds of stuff. Yeah, man, I appreciate it. But yeah, you don't want to marry a German woman. That's just a bad idea. Paulie, I'm in Argentina. Good looking Arab. Not a single look from a girl. What's going on? Well, first of all, like, are you in Buenos Aires or are you in other parts of Argentina? Right? Because you have to realize that like Buenos Aires is really inundated with things. Um, Second of all, you have to realize that like Argentinians are very racist. So like there will be Argentine women that have like a fetish for black guys just because it's like kind of like culturally taboo there, but that doesn't. I don't think that extends to Arab guys. I just think that's the truth. Um, yeah, Buenos Aires is cold approach normal. I got girls in the club. That's about it. Yeah, man. I mean, there's like a whole conversation about second tier cities that we can have, but I don't really feel like having that conversation right now, if that's okay. But basically, if you go to the places that all other Americans are going to, then like, and all, if you go to the places that all other foreigners are going to, the fact that you're foreign isn't going to have as much cachet, right? Um, but like, if you're going to places where not a lot of foreigners are going to, your being foreign is going to have a lot more cachet, right? Just think about it in terms of like America, right? Let's say you're an English guy, right? Everyone knows that girls love English accents, right? But let's say you're an English guy going to like Los Angeles, right? Are you getting some extra points from your English accent? Sure. But all those, every girl that you meet in LA probably knows like 5 or 10 English people. So the fact that you're English doesn't really do anything for you, right? But if you're gonna go, but imagine if you go to like Des Moines, Iowa, right? Or you go to like, Madison, Wisconsin, where like there are no British people there. Then they're gonna hear a British accent and be like, oh my God, that's so cool, right? It's the same thing in Latin America. You need to go to the places where there aren't a lot of Americans. The reason why Americans do well in Latin America is not because Latinos have this like huge affection for America. They want to like they view you as a last chopper out of Saigon, and they're like, I need to marry you in order to save my family. That's not why, right? Most of them want to stay in Latin America. That's a whole different conversation. The reason why they're into you is because you're different, is because you're interesting, right? So if you go to a place with lots of other foreigners, you are no longer different and interesting. Does that all make sense? Is Panama good for a beginner traveler? I haven't been to Panama, but all my indications say yes. I always need to like clarify if I haven't been to a place, but from everything that I know about Panama, you should be 100% fine. For real, Paulie the GOAT. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm desperate. What are you desperate for? You goddamn genius, Paulie. Me and my cousin are watching this in awe. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm just trying to put people on game. I'm just trying to help people get laid, honestly. Do Puerto Rican girls have the same values as US girls? Yes and no. Yes and no. Let's just say this. Puerto Ricans are not really claimed by America, not really claimed by Latin America either. The rest of Latin America doesn't really claim Puerto Rico that hard. I'm just gonna kind of leave it at that. Argentinians consider themselves more European than Latin Americans, lol, for the most part. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, so I made a video about this recently. It's called "Why Is Argentina So White?" where I talked about the demographic history of Argentina, and about 85% of Argentinians immigrated to Argentina. Their family immigrated to Argentina since 1880 from Europe. There's a specific policy called the Blanqueamiento in Argentina, specifically designed to make Argentina more white by bringing in immigrants from Europe. In the year 1800, 25% of Argentina was considered black, up to 30. Today, it's like 0.2%. And this was like specific policy by the Argentinian government to do that. So I would say not only do Argentinians consider themselves more European than Latin America, I would say Argentinians consider themselves more European than Europe. You know what I mean? Like I've talked to a lot of Argentinians, and you know those people who are like, America is the new Roman Empire, right? Argentinians are like that about Europe. Anyway, would you go to Venezuela right now with the conflict going on? No. I'm not even gonna like. I've answered that question a lot of times. I just don't feel like going on that rant. Don't go to Venezuela. 100% this is common sense. It's good to be an outsider places. Can't believe guys still go to Medellin. 100%. I'm constantly pushing guys to not go to Medellin anymore. So Daniel says it's because of ethnic cleansing. Yes and no. I would say that's an oversimplification, but there was definitely government policies that were like, anyway. If you're not that different, you're not that special. 100%, man. If you're Middle Eastern, South America won't work because you look like them. I always find it funny when people say statements like this. Like, people clearly don't know Argentina if they think that like an Arab from Syria looks like an Argentinian. I don't have no game at all. Negative Riz, bro. Here's what you need to do then. First of all, if you have no game at all in negative Riz, I know I'm sorry for plugging this. Somebody got angry at me for plugging shit the other day, so I'm like feeling really reticent about this. You should sign up for the group trip package. We're gonna have 10 guys going with you to Cartagena. You can meet a lot of girls. But if you have negative Riz, what you need to do is you need to go out there and you need to go in Latin America. And I'm sorry to say this, you need to do some pay for play. You need to get comfortable with the motions of talking to women. Right? And the fact that you paid for it and you kind of already have that consent makes it a lot easier. And you're going to, I mean, when you start off, you're going to be a pushover, you're going to be a simp, but eventually you're going to learn how to deal with these women. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, obviously, like dealing with pay for play is not the same as dealing with an actual relationship, but there are a lot of things, there are a lot of lessons that can be transferred from one to the other. It's also going to build up a lot of your confidence, right? Because like the women in pay for play in Latin America, people think that like you go to pay for play in Latin America, and the women are like these obedient, amazing employees who come. No, they give you a lot of shit. They act out, right? And learning how to deal with that is going to give you the tools and the muscle, the muscle memory to be able to, actually go pick up women, right? So that's what I recommend doing is you need to run up the numbers a little bit. You need to get some practice. You need to get some reps, right? And again, I think the best way to do that is to start out with the Columbia group package. Thing is, talking to chicks is easy, but knowing when they're down the hookup is hard. See, that is a thing that I want to disabuse you of, right? I don't know how to say this without sounding kind of like horrible, right? But like, first of all, if a girl's not interested in hooking up with you, she's gonna tell you, right? So you need to just go make the move, and she's gonna stop you. But what happens is because of like the general culture in America, guys are scared of doing that, right? And again, that's what doing the pay for play and getting the reps in is going to do for you. You're gonna feel a lot more comfortable. Just like here's the thing, right? If you haven't kissed a girl, let's just make some numbers, right? If you haven't kissed a girl in like 12 months, right? I can tell you need to go in and just kiss her, but you don't even remember what it's like to go in and kiss a girl, right? But if you've been doing pay for play, you at least have that muscle memory. You at least have the muscle memory of bringing a girl in, doing all that type of stuff. Thanks for the cowboy hat. And so that's going to make it a lot easier for you to make that move. A lot of guys are trying to go from 0 to 100. I'm saying they should take some baby steps along the way. So if you were talking to a Venezuelan girl who's deeply rooted in the country, where would you meet? I wouldn't talk to a girl who's deeply rooted in the country. I would just, or maybe meeting like Colombia or something. Paying blurs the lines of consent in my book. What do you mean it blurs the lines of consent? What are the rules for this trip? No cock blockers allowed. Obviously, there are no cock blockers allowed on the party trip. Guys, just talk to as many girls as possible, bro. It's a numbers game. One will say yes. I mean, that honestly is the actual best advice. But Bogota is way better for girls, and Cartagena too. All right, let me see one of the questions. So is the Cartagena group trip a baby step? Yeah, 100%. 100%. I have some people going on the trip reviewing as a baby step. It's a good way to like start your journey. You know what I mean? It's a good way to start your journey. Can't be kissing a paid player. Yeah, sure, whatever. Honestly, do whatever you want, man. Um, Women can be desperate for money and choose to agree despite not wanting to. Bro, like, here's the thing, man. Like, this. That's why liberals are so annoying. First of all, Daniel, you voted for Kamala Harris, right? You voted for Kamala Harris, didn't you? Okay. No, that's not true. And honestly, like, I think you're just kind of ignorant about the whole situation, and like, I just don't really feel like arguing with you about that. Like most of the women that you meet in Latin America who are pay for play are not like these desperate people who are coming from the mountains in order to like, buy corn for their family. Like that's not actually the case. My wife, right? Her family did really well in Venezuela, but they left. And like the first like 6 months that they were in like Brazil was really tough for them, right? It was really tough for them, especially because of all the racism against Venezuelans, right? She took a really shitty menial job for 6 months to pay the bills. She didn't do pay for play, right? The reason why girls do it is because they don't want to do the shitty jobs. There are shitty jobs available. They just don't want to do it, right? Like it's not like that. You know what I mean? It's just really not like that. Gotta crawl before walking, start with tricycles and training wheels and bikes, 100%. What date is the trip? So this specific trip that we're booking for right now is March 16th to the 22nd, but we're gonna be doing in about like, you know, once we have a rhythm, we're gonna be doing like 2 or 3 trips a month. So, Danny, what the fuck are you talking about? Escort is the oldest profession in the book. It's only sex, not human trafficking, bro. Chill. Like 100%, dude. It's not. Plus, okay. Here's what I would say, right? It would be one thing if you were inducing a woman who like has never done pay for play into becoming a paid player. That would be one thing. I mean, like, we could talk about the morality of that, whatever, right? But that's one thing, right? If you're talking to somebody who has been a paid player for 2 years now, no, that's not the situation. I'm not American, so didn't vote for Kamala. Did you vote for like Keir Starmer or something? Oh, I forgot. Like in Europe, you're not allowed to vote, right? Can somebody tell Vinny what I mean by paper play? Because I'm afraid that if I do it, I'm gonna get like a restriction. Is something you don't want. If you only travel to one continent for the rest of your life, what continent will you choose? Um, as a white guy, did you have the best experience dating Argentinians? I hear they will love whitey. I mean, everyone in Argentina is white. You're not like really that special there. If I could only travel to one continent, honestly, like I would love to live in Asia. For a lot of logistical reasons, it's pretty hard. Because me and my wife are hoping to have kids, and like, if like logistical issue, if logistics wasn't an issue, I would move to Vietnam, and I would never leave that country. I love Vietnam so much. I love Asia as a whole. Why are people so taboo about escorts? I don't know, man. Modern dating now is escorting. How many girls in the West only date according to what a male earns? I mean, that's 100% true. Um, like I know a ton of girls that put out. So here's actually an interesting thing. I was rewatching The Office with my wife, and in season 3, like episode 2 or 3, there's that episode where Pam, thanks for whatever that is. There's the episode where Pam goes on a date to like a restaurant, and Stanley is like, you have to order the lobster, um, and then like Pam is like, okay, and then it says like, but if you order the lobster, you have to put out, and Pam is like, Stanley, how can you say that? And then Phyllis is like, it's true. You know what I mean? Like, and that was 2006. Right? Imagine how horrible it is right now. You know what I mean? Like, that's what a lot of modern dating is. And by the way, this is one of my justifications for pushing people into pay for play is that I think long term, what you need to do is you need to move to Latin America and find an actual good woman that you can make into a wife. But if the thing that gets you to go down to Latin America and start that journey is pay for play, I think it's worth it because we're already living in a society where everybody is already so commodified. Besides the number of tourists as a foreigner, what are the differences between Vietnam and Thailand? Well, first of all, like I actually don't really like Thai food that much, if I'm gonna be honest. I also think that the Thai people that you deal with, because they've been dealing with Americans for so long, they kind of I don't know what the right word is. They're a little shisty. You definitely get gringo prices a lot. You'll notice that a lot of stores don't have prices because they literally just make the prices up on the spot. But the number of tourists is kind of like the big difference for me. You know what I mean? Like it really, that's like the major one. The Office, yeah, man, I love The Office. Usually 30 to 60 minutes, honestly, 25 to 55 are not used. I actually have the opposite problem. I literally and like it is a problem, but like I will go for hours and not finish. And like a lot of guys who finish early are like, nice humble brag, bro. But trust me, if you're doing it for like 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, and you're like, oh, please just finish, it becomes a problem. You think girls there date McDonald's or KFC workers? 0%. Daniel thought paper play started last week. I love us ganging up on Daniel. I had a different and fantastic time in Thailand. It could be a tourist area, white American thing. Okay, where are you from, Daniel? Okay, okay. So where are you from, Daniel, and where did you go in Thailand? Thailand's one of those places where people are like, "Yeah, man, I went off the beaten path," and you're like, "Okay, where'd you go to?" And they're like, "Oh, I just went to this tiny island called Koh Phangan. Probably never heard of it." Uh, Let me see. Experience is experience, 100%. I mean, there are some countries where it's cheap, but I would say my defense of Medellin, at least when I was there, was it was the cheapest pay for play I've been to in the world, which kind of spoiled me for other places and made me not want to go to other places. I got into a lot of fights with like the operators of like escort services in other countries. I was just like, $100? What are you talking about? Kobe P is pretty good, but I was last there in 2004. I hear it's changed. I was in Kobe P in 2015, and it was amazing. But Kobe P is literally just America. You know what I mean? Like Kobe P is not Thailand in any capacity. It's just all of it is Kobe P. For people who don't know, Kobe P is literally just an island filled with bars and Americans getting hammered. Um, so if you're 25 though, Kobe P is like one of the most magical places on earth. Do you have a fear of getting robbed when dealing with escorts? I mean, if you're in Latin America, you should be, but like in Asia, no. I would even say like, let me just say this: I've been robbed multiple times in my trips, never by an escort. Escorts don't really want to rob you. You know what I mean? Like escorts view. I mean, I'm not. I don't want people to like be very brazen about this, but like, I. It's really like a plumber. You know what I mean? It's really like a plumber or like hiring an electrician to come in, fix some stuff, and then leave. Like you know, what are the Rob stories? Yeah, dude. So when I was in so when I was in Medellin, I this actually really pissed me off. I'm gonna tell you why it pissed me off in a second, but I set up dates like every day. I like 2 or 3 dates, right? And there's a long backstory to this, but like on a Friday, I I was with two women at the same time. Again, I'm trying to figure out what the words I can use on TikTok are, right? And so they wanted to come over on Saturday, but I already had a lunch date planned, and I don't like breaking plans. So, but I didn't really want to meet with her because she was kind of ugly. But I was like, I already made the plans, and she came over, and she was even uglier than the picture, and the picture wasn't very flattering. It was just on the edge of catfishing, and she also smelled bad. You know, like the people like when they cross their legs and they recross them, it just smells horrible. She was like that. Anyway, she like put something in my drink. She stole all my shit, and and robbed me. So yeah. I spent like 3 days trying to get all my stuff back. It was horrible. They say in Brazil, bring a DK phone just in case. So I actually had. I'm kind of a Luddite, and I never wanted to update my iPhone 6. This was back in 2023. Finally, before were you roofied? Yeah, I was roofied. But like right before I trip, I decided to update to an iPhone 15, and so you know I kept my 6 with me just because like I literally updated it like a week before my trip, and she stole my phone, but I had the other phone that I basically used to like get my life back together. But had I not had that phone, my life would have been fucked. Yo, guys, I'm from Brazil. Nice, dude. Where do you live in Brazil? Yo, so one time there was this girl. Yeah, you should definitely have a backup phone. So one time I was with this girl and she clearly did not wipe after going to the bathroom. And it was like a number two. And I only figured that out after we had already started. And bro, the smell was so gnarly that I just like concentrated to finish as quickly as possible. I was able to. I was actually able to finish as quickly as possible. Um, but man, that was horrible. I'm traumatized by that. Dude, she was from Estonia. She's from Estonia, and I met her in Poland. Do you have experience from all Latin American countries? Not all of them. South Curitiba, Parada. Nice. Florianopolis worth the price. It could be, man. Depends on what you're looking for. All right. So I'm traumatized by that story. Yeah, dude, me too, man. Me too. Um, bro, what are you even up to, B? Dude, like, here's the thing, bro. Like, when you're in the middle of it and you smell it, you have to finish. You know what I mean? You have to finish. Anyway, how do I feel about the Philippines? I don't like the Philippines, man. I think the Philippines have basically of um the worst of Latin culture and the worst of Asian culture. So I would not recommend going to the Philippines personally, but there are a lot of people who love the Philippines, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy that they love the Philippines and they're having a great time there. But personally, I would never go again. But yeah, I would never date a white girl. I mean, I'm also like married. Malaysia versus you rock with North Korean chicks. Yo, can I tell you something? Before I got married, one of my goals in life was to hit a North Korean chick. Just because I feel like that's such a flex. You know what I mean? Like, you know, nobody really can like sleep with a North Korean girl. So if you get there, that's a story that no one else can top. So Malaysia versus Indonesia, both are great. I honestly can't really decide which one I like more. Dude, you're gross. How am I gross? Okay, here's the thing. I said so many gross, disgusting things in the last just 5 minutes. Can you please specify which of the gross things you're referring to? Because there was a lot of gross stuff that I said. Bro, so this is a 2 hour live. We're reaching the end of it. So like this is passport Paulie after dark, basically. What's wrong with Slavic girls? Aren't they basically snow Latinas? People people say this stuff all the time. It's so not true. I don't know who started this rumor. Okay, so I am a Polish person. My whole family's from Poland. I have a Polish passport. Both of my parents were born in Poland. I speak Polish. I've spent I think I spent like 6 months in Poland in the past 3 years. So I'm very in tune with Polish culture. I'm also living in Latin America. I can tell you there are a few cultures more different than Polish and Latin American culture. How much do you need a month in South America to chill in for like 6 months? Like $3,000 or $4,000 a month. I met a Ukrainian girl in Latvia. She was 15 kilograms heavier when I got there via Uber. I just went ahead with it. Yo, this is why Pablo Jeter and I get along so well. I would have told her that I can't continue and she needs to go clean herself. Yeah, man, I just went with it, bro. Are they good women too? No. Slavic girls suck, man. Are girls willing to use translators in Latin America? 100%. And they actually think it's really cute. Pro squirters. Yeah, why not? Why not? Yeah. Slav girls are obsessed with money. They're obsessed with status. They're very cold. Um, like I'd boil it down to this, right? If I like if I spend an extra hour or two a day working, my wife gets very upset that we're not spending that time together. If you're married to a Polish girl, she's gonna be upset that you're not spending an extra 3, 4 hours a day working because she wants to buy another handbag. That's kind of like a crucial clarified difference, between the two. I took the extra time out of my life to learn Spanish. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be spending enough time in Latin America, you should definitely learn Spanish. If you're going for like a week, I think a translator's fine, personally. Don't mean to argue with you, Big Mo. I'm just playing, man. But yeah, no, I do think that for like a week or two is fine. My wife is from Venezuela. Ella solo habla español. What up, Pablo Jr.? Outside of Europe. Pablo Jr. is about to drop a bomb on me right now. I'm just waiting for it. Outside of Europe, where's the rudest people? India, obviously. any pejorative, any pejorative who has the pejorative people, the answer is probably India. As a cobbler, I hate you for no reason. Um, uh, for a month in Colombia or Brazil, yeah, that's good for both places, to be honest. Yeah, I try not to talk about politics here too much, but like there's sometimes where somebody says something to me, and I'm just like, "You definitely voted for Kamala Harris, didn't you?" And that was the guy earlier, Daniel. Thoughts on Uruguay for travel? Sorry for not answering this question earlier. Uruguay is chill. It's just you don't get a lot of the benefits of Latin America. It's more expensive. It's more expensive. Best places for English speaking Latinas. You should, if you're dating Latinas, you should date Spanish speaking Latinas. That's kind of the whole point. The reason why they're referred to as Latinas is because they speak a Latin language. Um, any place with English speaking Latinas is a bad place for Latinas, so that makes sense. One of my rules about Latinas is you don't want to date Latinas that speak English. Um, Which is worse, India or Pakistan? I've never been to Pakistan, but I'm guessing, I'm pretty sure India's worse. I can, we work together, bro. I don't know what that means. You said that like three times. For English speaking Latinas, my city is Miami. But yeah, no, I mean that's fair. For me, like I don't consider Latinas who are born and raised in America to be Latinas. I've created a separate category called Ameritinas. So that's my answer to that, right? So like if you want an Ameritina, yeah, go to Miami. But I don't consider those girls Latinas. Are women from Spain Latinas? Yeah, I mean technically, but like not really. Is Montevideo really like Europe and South America was looking to go? Uruguay, Chile, and Argentina are more Europe than Europe. Argentina, Chile, and Uruguay are more European than Europe, in my opinion. Cuba. What about Cuba? I haven't been to Cuba, so Moroccan or Latinas. I married a Latina, but there's a very good argument to be made for Moroccan women. There's a very good argument to be made for Moroccan women. The problem is Moroccan women are like, okay, Latinas and Moroccan women are both psycho, but they're psycho in different ways. You know what I mean? What if you want to live there long term and you own your home and a car? I mean, if you own a home and a car, it doesn't really increase your monthly expenses, though, right? Um, um, all right. How is India? Egypt. India sucks. Egypt is fine. All my friends would tell you my exact type is Latinas that speak zero English. Me too. My wife is Latina. She speaks zero in English. Pay for play in Medellin, Colombia. What's your advice? Oh, you're like doing the phonetic Medellin. What funny thing about traveling is that like you can tell who has actually been to certain places based upon like what they say. One of the most basic things, obviously, is like if somebody refers to Medellin as Medellin, you're like you clearly did not go to Medellin. What about Latinos born in Latam but raised in Miami? I mean, it depends on how much time they spent in Miami, right? But I would still call them an Ameritina. Miami Latinos are all about money. Thoughts on Mexico right now? Would you go? 100%. I'm hoping to do like a 3 month Mexico trip. I wouldn't go to Mexico City though, but I'd go to like Guadalajara, Oaxaca, all those other places. Moroccan women just totally want passport though. Yeah, 100%. That's one big difference between Latinas versus Moroccan women and also Asian women is that it's very hard to like actually get like have a relationship with the second category. Latinas much more view you as a person who they can actually have a relationship with versus like Moroccan and Asian women are much more of like actually just like, you know, I don't travel to meet other girls. I'm married now. They step 1 foot down here in Miami is already a wrap. Big Mo got it already. Yo, Big Mo is the king of Miami. Are Chilean women more influenced by Spain, or in what way are they more European? They're more European in the same way that, like, how do I phrase this delicately? After World War II, there was a huge project in Europe to de-Europeanize Europe, right? And again, like I don't want to talk about politics here, but it's like a whole thing, right? People in Chile, Argentina, and Uruguay never had that project. So they're much more proud of European culture than Europeans are, right? That's kind of the cliff notes. Ever traveled to any other Muslim countries other than Morocco? Yeah, man. Morocco, Egypt, Malaysia. I was in a Muslim area of India for a while, and technically Indonesia is Muslim, but I was in Bali, which doesn't really, which if you've been there, you know it's not really Muslim. Um, First name ask was the de-urbanization run by a group of people. Um, I'm not gonna answer that question on Larry Ellison's TikTok. Any job careers you recommend, even if it's through a trade or degree that allow you to travel? The best one is a remote sales closer, but I don't really like, you know, uh, I don't talk about that anymore. To be honest, I had a couple partnerships with a couple programs, and everyone was a flake, and like I just don't want to like deal with that. So I don't really answer that question anymore. Cuba for passport bros, so they make like $10 a month. So I would give women $100. They'll live like kings. It's kind of weird when people make comments like this, just because it's like you're acting like the very stereotype of passport bros that feminists make. You're acting like the caricature that feminists make of passport bros. I was like, oh, you're like poor and starving. I'm gonna like take advantage of you. Like when Daniel said that about us, I found it objectionable. I also find it objectionable when like other passport bros talk that way. Like, you know, don't be like, oh, let me go find the place in the world where people are poor and starving, and let me exploit my money. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a bad way of viewing it. I paid a girl $5,000 to not break up with me. Yeah, I mean that's like a weird thing to do though. Um, do you have European citizenship? Yeah, I have Polish citizenship. Damn, I need advice on a good remote job to set me up for this lifestyle. Look, if you guys are interested in that type of thing, like go just Google remote sales closer course and just sign up for one of those. Um, you ever been to Cebu City? I spent 3 or 4 days in Cebu. It was fine. Make sure to try the what's it called? Lechon. Make sure to try the lechon in Cebu. It's really good. What country specifically would you say ladies just want passport and visa? Um, what country specifically? Um, huh. Indonesia. A lot of the girls you meet in Indonesia like want the visa. Um, although like Indonesia, a lot of the girls there also like hmm, Colombia. I guess Colombia would kind of be more on the top of the list, especially in like the hot spots like Medellin, Cartagena, and places like that. Um, Thailand, definitely. Um, Philippines. One thing that happens in some places like Indonesia and Brazil, for instance, is that the girls don't want the visa to America. They want you to move down there. You know what I mean? Any spots you recommend for a guy in his 20s to have fun and on a budget? Um, yeah, dude. What you should do is sign up for the Cartagena group trip. Ever been to Sub-Saharan Africa? Um, no, I haven't, but I would 100% go. I posted a video about why I haven't been there today, Basically, like there aren't a lot of cheap flights between African countries. So if I were to go to sub-Saharan Africa, I would want to like do like 10 countries or something, or like 5 or 6, right? The problem is that the prices of country to country are like $300 a plane ticket. Versus in Southeast Asia, a Scoot flight is like 60 to $100. In Europe, a Ryanair flight can be as low as $30, right? South America, you could have some flights that are like $50 between countries. So that's the big problem um, with sub-Saharan Africa. They don't have a lot of budget airlines, which makes it very difficult to bounce between countries. Anyway, um, would you date a Polish woman? No, never. You're drinking mate. I drink that every morning. Yeah, dude. When you're in Paraguay, Taki, I'm moving to Polsku. What yerba am I using? I'm not really sure. It's like a lemon yerba that I got at Biggie. If you guys know anything about Paraguay, Biggie is kind of like the 7-Eleven of Paraguay. China. Um, use a search bar. Do Moroccan women look Arab? No, not really. I don't even know how to describe them. Some of them do. You said the girls don't want a visa. That's the first. Yeah, dude, 100%. It's a huge mischaracterization that people have about Latin America. The girls don't want a visa. The girls want you to move there and like live a luxurious lifestyle in their home country. Latinas and like Indonesian women and like the traditional women you're looking for are very family oriented, right? They want to be around their family. So it's kind of like a catch 22 type of thing where like any girl that would be okay with moving to the United States is not really the type of girl that you want to settle down and marry. Does that make sense? So you live in the States or somewhere in Latin America now. I'm a digital nomad. I bounce around. I'm in Paraguay right now. Haven't been to Morocco. Yep, I've been to Morocco. I want to visit Brazil. Is it safe? And recommendations. It's not safe, but you'll be fine. And my recommendation is don't overthink it. Go to Rio de Janeiro. I have a thing for tall women. Okay. How expensive is Tokyo compared to Los Angeles or New York? So the last time I was in Tokyo was 2 years ago, and I have a general rule of thumb that um I don't give advice about affordability about places if I haven't been there in the last 6 months or a year. That being said, my feeling about Tokyo is that Tokyo is actually surprisingly affordable, and the reason for that is that the flights and the hotels are very expensive. But because of that, not a lot of people go to Tokyo. Not a lot of people go to Japan, and because of that, it's very cheap. So I'm a huge fan of sushi. Sushi is my favorite food on earth, and I used to eat sushi literally every single meal in Tokyo, and it was like $7 a meal for some of the best sushi you'll ever have in your life. So Tokyo is very, very affordable, except for the hotels. Ever been to Nicaragua? No. I'll be in Brazil next year. Nice, dude. People don't realize how big Africa is. Oh, okay, man. I mean, you rock with Caribbean chicks. Yeah, dude. Again, I'm married now, but tons of white liberals say being called a female is a red flag. What about Australian women? Bro, like people always like do this nitpicking. Any Anglophone country is suffering from the same malaise, right? So girls from Australia, girls from New Zealand, girls from the United Kingdom, girls from Canada, and girls from the United States are all have the same issue. So, it's not gonna be any better there. Is it safe to go to Cartagena by yourself? I mean, it's safe to go to Cartagena by yourself, but what you should do is you should sign up for the group package so you don't have to. I hear stories of foreigners being refused entry to restaurants in Japan. True. Um, I haven't seen those stories. What I would say, just from my personal experience, is that like the Japanese are too polite to be that aggressive about it. What I could definitely see though is them doing some more passive aggressive stuff, which is like, you know, just giving you bad service. Like that's what happened to us a lot, was just getting bad service. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. Here is what we're gonna do. I I've been doing this live now for 2 hours and 15 minutes. So I'm gonna do an extra 15 minutes minimum, maybe 30 minutes. But because I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel, I'm gonna be doing the live in my YouTube channel. So if you guys want to continue on the live, go to my YouTube channel and watch the live there. The live is happening on my YouTube channel right now. But so I'm gonna be jumping off in like a minute. Um, but yeah. So I got 48 people on here. Actually, I'm just gonna stay here. Never mind. What's my YouTube channel name? It's Passport Paulie. The link to my YouTube channel is in the bio. My links to everything is in the bio. I filled out the form. Nice, dude. Did you just fill it out? Um, what about Czech, Polish, Slovakian women? Czech, Polish, and Slovakian women are terrible, man. Eastern European women are terrible. Don't go to Eastern Europe to pick up women. But like, some people really want to. So, which country has the best food in South America? Peru. Easily Peru. There's not even really a question about it. Peru has the best food in South America. Yeah, no worries about it. I'm gonna be sending you a message once I'm done with this live. Is Curitiba any good for dating? Yeah, sure. Curitiba is good for dating. Peru, best food, interesting. Yeah, Peru is the best food country in Latin America. No, I haven't been to the north to south, Senador. Would you consider Albania the exception to Eastern Europe? Not totally, a little bit, but I mean, I don't really consider Albania is not Eastern Europe in any real capacity. Like, do you consider Greece to be Eastern Europe? If you, like Albania is right next to Greece. Brazil is the best food and the best girls ever. Well, I mean, the person who said that, his profile is Brazilian girl, so I think you're a little bit biased. But no, Brazilian food is very one note. Peruvian food is like an act like here's the contrast, right? The best, like the most famous Brazilian restaurant is like a rodizio spot, right? Fogo de Chao, right? Is there really like fine dining in Fogo de Chao? No, it's just rodizio, right? And rodizio is great. I love rodizio, but like it's not like a cuisine. Um. Anyway, Where's the best place to find a Catholic Latina in Latin America? Philippines guys need to be careful. Gold digger capital, 100%. Which country is the meanest women? Eastern Europe. Okay. Best food. So Lunar Chemical says best food: Jamaica, Italy, Mexico, France, Spain. Um, no, that's not the order at all. Number one in the best food is Japan. That's number one. Number two is India, as much as I hate to say it. Number three is Vietnam. No, number three is Peru. Number four is Vietnam. And then everyone else is like after that. Which country is the most likely to kidnap you for ransom? Brazil. All right. So awesome. Um, because people dropped off, I'm now going to do the transfer to the YouTube channel. So everyone who's on the TikTok live, I'm going to be doing an extra 20 minutes on my YouTube channel. If you want to go to the YouTube live to continue this, the only reason I'm doing it is I'm trying to push this YouTube channel, trying to get some more subscribers. So go to the link in the bio, go to my YouTube channel, and go to the live there. We're going to continue this right now. So thanks everyone for hopping on. I'll talk to you all later, or I'll talk to you all on the YouTube. Talk to you guys later. Awesome. Okay. Let's see this. Sorry, I'm just looking at this. I'm gonna answer you in a second. Um passport, Paul. People keep on telling me that this YouTube link doesn't work, but it does. This is the link. Um, Sorry that I'm kind of going on my phone. I promise I'm going to answer questions in a second. I'm just trying to do some housekeeping stuff. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I really want to go to Belize. That sounds awesome. Okay, so um, yeah, that I think that's true. I think it's a TikTok issue. All right. Sorry, guys, for the housekeeping stuff. I'm going to start answering questions. Have I ever been to Victoria Espírito Santo, Brazil? It is one of my favorite cities on planet Earth, and I really want to move there. I love Victoria Espírito Santo, Brazil. I'm trying not to blow it up too much, though, so that's why I don't really talk about it. But I love Victoria. Um, hey, how's it going, bro? I'm here. Oh, Brazilian girl is in Victoria. Where in Victoria are you? Um, I spent 2 months in Victoria. So okay, so India is the second best food. Indian food is like okay, like you could say the cleanliness, but you go to a restaurant in India and like you know it's fine. You know what I mean? Um, Praia do Canto, is that in the north? Okay, yeah, no, I know where you are. So I was in I don't know how to say this correctly, but I was in Praia de Itaparica, and then I was in Itapua. So I was technically in Vila Bella, but I view Victoria and Vila Bella as kind of like the same city, just like two different names for it. Yeah, I really want to go to Belize. Belize seems really amazing. Um, Let me see if my wife can go to Belize. My wife is Venezuelan, which complicates everything for me. Um, Anyway, Japan is obviously the best food in my opinion. Yeah, Indian food is just like you'll find like it's very hard to find people who are more critical of India than me. Like I've criticized India a lot, but like I do also think that you kind of have to, be objective about stuff. And I just think that India has great food. Like it's one of my favorite food countries. Um. Anyway, um, my dad owns an apartment beachfront in Praia de Itaparica. So nice. Yeah. Do you know Victoria, Brazil? Let me see. Peru just like the difference between Peruvian food and every other cuisine is that like Peru actually has like a cuisine. You know what I mean? Like it's actually like a developed cuisine with like distinct interesting dishes, right? So like you go to Brazil, right? And like I like Brazilian food. And like they have a lot of pastries, right? Pau de queijo, um, Jolos, they're called Jolos in Rio. I forgot what they're called. They're called something else in the Spirit of Santo. But um they have pastries, but they don't really have a lot of like specific dishes, right? Peru actually has, yeah, a cocina, but a cocina is not a dish. You know what I mean? It's a pastry. Um, when you go to a Brazilian restaurant, it's literally just like here's some sticks of meat, here's some rice, and here's some sauces, right? And again, it's fine, it's great. It's just not really like an interesting cuisine, right? Peru has, first of all, Peruvian chicken is one of the best chickens on planet Earth. I think the only chicken that's better than Peruvian chicken is probably um, Filipino chicken. Like adobo chicken is better than Peruvian chicken, but I think that's the only really one. But then they also have like a lot of other interesting dishes, right? I A lot of that is the mix with Chinese cuisine. So they have this one dish that's like I forgot what it's called. It's basically like a fish with like soy sauce, kind of, but it's like more complicated and interesting than that. I've actually never had the chicken. I've never been to Portugal. That's one of the few European countries I haven't been to, so I really want to go there. Um, oh yeah, so Brazilian girl. Have you been to? First of all, are you an actual girl, or are you like a guy who's interested in girls, and that's why you call yourself Brazilian girl? Um, but anyway, let me see. Have you been to Itaparica Food Park? I used to go to this place all the time because it was literally right next to. Yeah, but like, first of all, stroganoff is not actually Brazilian food, right? It's what is it, German? Muqueca, okay, but like, I mean, muqueca's fine. It's not, you know, like on the level of Peruvian food. Feijoada, I guess, but that's kind of like it's more of a soup. They consider it Brazilian. Do they really? Um. Anyway, so if you guys ever find yourself in Indaparica Food Park, there's a Mexican restaurant there. The guy is really friendly, but the food kind of sucks. Sorry, I'm just like looking at this place. I wish they had like the names of the spots. Yeah, so like this is what you get in Brazil. It's delicious, but it's not like a cuisine. So I disagree with you. I actually really like um I actually like feijoada. Gotta ask about my culture. You've had Haitian food. I actually have never had Haitian food, Big Mo. Is it good? Is Haitian food good? Um anyway, this is a typical meal that you'll have in Brazil. Oh yeah, farofa. I forgot about farofa. I hate farofa. I think the easiest way to tell if someone is Brazilian or not is if they like farofa. No person who's not Brazilian likes farofa, and no, and every Brazilian loves farofa. Um, so I'm just having good memories of this place. I watched the Champions League final here. This was right next to my apartment, so I used to go here all the time. There's also another place near here that I really liked. Um, it was a Hodigio place. Oh, this place is amazing. In no, is this the place? No, this place sucks. Wait a second. So this place in Victoria is amazing. It's called Spetteria and Sia. So this is how you can tell that Brazilian girl is actually Brazilian because she used E. You've been to Spetteria and Sia? I love this place. This place is amazing. Um, what travel restrictions do they have in Thailand now? Yeah, I hate Farofa, man. I hate Farofa. But again, like if you're not Brazilian, you're not supposed to like Farofa. It's not meant for non-Brazilian people. It really isn't. Anyway, so for some reason it's not on Google Maps, but this place it's called Aloha Acai. This place is amazing. Where is it? It's called Aloha. No. Anyway, what do you think of the Asian part of Russia, Siberia? I've been to Mongolia, and Mongolia kind of has that mix. I think they're very attractive. I think Mongolian women are incredibly attractive. I highly recommend dating some Mongolian women. Um, but I haven't been to like the Russian part of that area. But I've been to the Mongolian part, and the women are very hot. Um, anyway, I really love Victoria, so I'm just gonna do some cruising around Victoria. I need to visit Jamaica. I would 100% visit Jamaica. They're doing way stricter enforcements on visa runs in Thailand. I think you can only go through customs there 2 times a year now. So that was always the rule. A lot of people broke that rule, but that was always the rule that you were only allowed to go twice a year. I remember like planning some time in Thailand, and that was like a consideration of mine. But yeah, I mean the problem is Thailand is just way too many tourists now, and they're just in a place where they're like, hey, we need to like stop having, so many tourists. Um, Yeah. Um, I have a few friends in Victoria, and I put a joke on my story where I was like, um, talking about Brazilian people always being late. I have a friend in Victoria named Julia, and she was just like, she texted me angry. She's like, "What are you talking about? We're not always late." I was like, "Julia, we literally went out to dinner yesterday, and you were half an hour late." And she was like, "Oh, but like half an hour is not late." I was like, "Yeah, exactly. That's the exact point that I'm making right now." I think a couple of Caribbean is might jump up your list. Yeah, I definitely need to like do more Caribbean stuff, to be honest. My wife's passport is really like restricting what we can do, but to do some Caribbean travel. Honestly, I just want to live in Victoria, um, Brazil. This is one of my favorite places on earth. I'm so happy that there's somebody here from Victoria because this is my happy place, to be honest with you. Speaking of which, I appreciate everybody joining. I appreciate everyone joining to the YouTube. If anyone has some like last minute questions, feel free to ask them. Otherwise, I'm probably going to be like jumping off soon. Brazilian Standard Time. Yeah, exactly. In Brazil, they're late for their own funeral. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. Tell me your email. When will your next live be? My live is I'm doing lives every day from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. Um, Brazilian girl, if you're like if you want to connect, um, go to my TikTok. So go to my YouTube page. You'll see the links. You'll see a link to my TikTok. Go to that, and then shoot me a DM. But mention that you're Brazilian girl because I get a ton of messages. I don't respond to all of them. But I would love to connect and talk about Vila Bella. Where can we connect for a private call? In the same link in my bio, you can there's a schedule for a paid consultation. Click on that, schedule a paid consultation, and we can sit down and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. After I'm in the Philippines, what country should I go after that? Vietnam is where you should go. Big Mo W Stream. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Talk to you guys later. Thanks everyone for joining. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.